Imagine scrolling through your social media feed. You're bombarded with quotes plastered over stoic faces, telling you to toughen up and stop feeling. Influencers preach emotional detachment as the ultimate path to strength. They claim it's the secret of ancient stoic wisdom. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. It's all a lie. This distorted version of Stoicism has spread like wildfire, infecting millions with a dangerous misconception. Young men, in particular, are adopting it as emotional armor, thinking they've found the key to mental fortitude. But in reality, they're setting themselves up for a silent struggle that could haunt them for years to come. Let's take a closer look at what's really happening. Countless YouTube clips, TikToks, and Instagram posts portray Stoicism as nothing more than cold detachment. The message is clear. Don't feel anything, don't care, just endure. It's packaged as the ultimate tough guy philosophy, a surefire way to build unshakable mental strength. But here's the kicker. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, the very founders of Stoicism, never taught emotional suppression, not even close. Their teachings were about understanding emotions, not avoiding them. The popular version you see online, it's a gross oversimplification, a bastardization of profound wisdom. These so-called Stoic influencers cherry-pick quotes, strip them of context, and twist them to fit their narrative. They'll share a line like "be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over," and claim it means you should be emotionless. But that's not what the Stoics meant at all. The truth is, real Stoicism is about emotional clarity, not avoidance. It's about facing your feelings head-on, understanding them, and then choosing how to act. It's not about becoming an unfeeling robot. It's about becoming more deeply human. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. His personal writings and meditations are filled with raw emotion. He grapples with grief, anger, and fear. But instead of suppressing these feelings, he examines them. He seeks to understand their root causes and how to navigate them wisely. This misunderstanding isn't just academic, it's having real consequences. Those who adopt this warped version of Stoicism often end up more disconnected, not less. They push down their emotions, thinking it makes them strong. But all it does is create a pressure cooker of unexpressed feelings. The result: growing emotional numbness, difficulty connecting with others, even depression, all in the name of supposed mental toughness. And the worst part, most people have no idea it's happening to them. So, here's the million-dollar question. What did the real Stoics actually believe? How can understanding their true teachings help us navigate our emotions in a healthier way? Before we dive deeper, I want you to reflect for a moment. Have you ever tried to stay strong by feeling nothing and ended up feeling worse? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might just help someone else realize they're not alone. Now, let's uncover the truth about Stoicism and how it can actually transform your emotional life for the better. The real Stoics weren't emotionless automatons. They were deeply feeling, deeply thinking individuals who sought to understand the human experience in all its complexity. Their goal wasn't to eliminate emotions, but to cultivate wisdom in dealing with them. Epictetus, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, taught that we should examine our judgments about events, not try to shut off our reactions to them. He believed that by understanding the beliefs that fuel our emotions, we could gain more control over our responses. Seneca, another Stoic giant, wrote extensively about anger, but he didn't say, "Never get angry." Instead, he explored the nature of anger, its causes, and how to manage it effectively. He recognized anger as a natural human emotion. The key was learning how to express it appropriately. And Marcus Aurelius? His meditations are a masterclass in emotional introspection. He doesn't shy away from difficult feelings. Instead, he faces them head-on, examining their origins and seeking to understand their place in the grand scheme of things. The true Stoic approach to emotions is more like mindfulness than suppression. It's about observing your feelings without being controlled by them. It's about developing the wisdom to know when to act on an emotion and when to let it pass. This misunderstanding of Stoicism isn't just philosophically incorrect, it's actively harmful. When people believe that being Stoic means being emotionless, they're setting themselves up for serious psychological distress. Emotional suppression has been linked to increased anxiety, depression, and even physical health problems. By pushing down our feelings, we don't eliminate them. We just force them to find other ways to express themselves, often in unhealthy patterns. Moreover, this false Stoicism can lead to a kind of emotional illiteracy. If you never allow yourself to feel, how can you ever learn to understand and manage your emotions effectively? It's like trying to become a master chef without ever tasting your food. The irony is that this distorted version of Stoicism actually makes people less resilient, not more. True emotional strength comes from facing our feelings, understanding them, and learning to navigate them skillfully, not from pretending they don't exist. So, how do we reclaim the true wisdom of Stoicism? How can we use these ancient teachings to build real emotional resilience in our modern world? First, we need to recognize that emotions are not the enemy. They're valuable signals, giving us important information about our experiences and our values. The Stoic approach is to acknowledge these feelings, examine them rationally, and then decide how to respond. Second, we must cultivate self-awareness. The Stoics practiced regular self-reflection, often through journaling. By taking time to examine our thoughts and feelings, we can gain insight into our emotional patterns and triggers. Third, we should focus on what we can control. This is a core Stoic principle that's often misunderstood. It doesn't mean becoming passive in the face of adversity. Instead, it means directing our energy towards what we can influence, rather than wasting it on things beyond our control. Finally, we need to practice emotional honesty with ourselves and others. The goal isn't to never feel negative emotions, but to express them in healthy, constructive ways. This builds genuine resilience and deeper connections with those around us. As we wrap up, I want you to consider this. How might your life change if you embraced your emotions instead of trying to suppress them? What insights could you gain about yourself and your world? The journey to true emotional mastery isn't about becoming cold and unfeeling. It's about developing a deep understanding of your inner world and learning to navigate it with wisdom and grace. That's the real legacy of Stoicism, and it's a philosophy that can truly transform your life. So the next time you see a Stoic quote telling you to shut down your feelings, remember, that's not Stoicism. That's emotional avoidance masquerading as strength. True strength comes from facing your emotions head-on, understanding them, and using that understanding to live a more fulfilling life. Are you ready to discover the real power of Stoic wisdom? To build genuine emotional resilience? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. Let's start a conversation about what true emotional strength really looks like. Remember, in the words of Marcus Aurelius, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The path to that strength begins with embracing, not rejecting, the full spectrum of human emotion. Imagine opening your favorite social media app. You're immediately bombarded with quotes about being unshakable and not letting anything bother you. Stoicism, it seems, is everywhere these days. But what if I told you that 98% of people, including those sharing those quotes, have completely misunderstood this ancient philosophy? The popular version of Stoicism you see online paints a picture of emotional suppression and detachment. It tells you to bottle up your feelings, to stay silent in the face of adversity, and to act as if nothing in this world can touch you. But here's the truth, that's not Stoicism at all. It's a dangerous misinterpretation that's quietly wreaking havoc on people's lives. Let's turn to the actual words of the Stoics themselves. In his Meditations, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius doesn't shy away from discussing grief, fear, and love. He doesn't advocate for avoiding these emotions, but for understanding them deeply. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, teaches that it's not external events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This isn't a call for emotional denial. It's an invitation to emotional discipline and self-awareness. The goal of true Stoicism was never apathy or indifference. It was tranquility, a state of inner peace achieved through wisdom and virtue. Seneca, perhaps the most eloquent of the Stoic writers, penned heartfelt letters about love, loss, and sorrow. He didn't view these emotions as signs of weakness, but as fundamental aspects of the human experience. Today's misinterpretation of Stoicism strips away all of this nuance and depth. It's not that Stoicism aims to make you feel less. It teaches you how to feel better, how to engage with your emotions in a healthier, more constructive way. Consider this. The Stoics believed that emotions were a natural part of human existence. Their philosophy wasn't about repression, but about developing a skillful response to our feelings. It's the difference between being at the mercy of every passing mood and having the tools to navigate the stormy seas of human emotion. But somewhere along the way, this message got lost. Social media, with its appetite for oversimplification, has warped Stoicism into something unrecognizable to its founders. We've traded wisdom for pithy quotes, depth for surface-level toughness. Let's look at some historical examples to drive this point home. When Marcus Aurelius lost his young son, he didn't simply shrug it off as an indifferent Stoic might be expected to do in popular imagination. Instead, he allowed himself to grieve. while using Stoic principles to find meaning in his loss and to honor his son's memory through virtuous living. Seneca, often portrayed as a stern, emotionless figure, was known for his deep empathy. He comforted friends in their times of sorrow, acknowledging the pain of loss while offering perspective and hope. This is a far cry from the just suck-it-up mentality often associated with Stoicism. Today, the true goal of Stoicism was what the Greeks called eudaimonia, a state of human flourishing. It's not about detachment from life, but about engaging with it fully and virtuously. It's about developing the wisdom to know what's in our control and what isn't, the courage to face life's challenges, the justice to treat others fairly, and the self-discipline to live according to our highest values. But here's the burning question: how is the misinterpretation of Stoicism actually damaging modern lives? When we embrace a false version of Stoicism that tells us to suppress our emotions and act invulnerable, we cut ourselves off from the very things that make us human. We deny ourselves the opportunity to process our feelings in a healthy way, to connect deeply with others, and to grow from our experiences, both positive and negative. This misunderstanding can lead to a kind of emotional stunting. People might pride themselves on their ability to remain unmoved by life's ups and downs, not realizing that they're missing out on the richness of human experience. They might avoid seeking help when they need it, believing that admitting to struggle is a sign of weakness. Moreover, this distorted stoicism can breed a lack of empathy. If we believe that the ideal is to be unmoved by anything, we might judge others harshly for showing emotion or vulnerability. This can strain relationships and create a culture of emotional isolation. The irony is that while people think they're becoming stronger by embracing this false stoicism, they're actually making themselves more fragile. True resilience comes not from denying our emotions, but from understanding them, working through them, and learning from them. So, what can we do to reclaim the true wisdom of Stoicism? First, we need to educate ourselves. Read the original Stoic texts, not just the quotes on Instagram, but the full works of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Engage with their ideas in their full context. Second, we need to practice emotional awareness. Instead of trying to suppress our feelings, we should observe them without judgment. What are we feeling? Why are we feeling it? What can we learn from this emotion? Third, we should focus on what the Stoics really emphasized: virtue. How can we live more ethically? How can we contribute positively to our communities? How can we cultivate wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline in our daily lives? Finally, we need to remember that Stoicism is not about becoming an unfeeling robot. It's about becoming a fully realized human being, capable of experiencing the full range of emotions, while maintaining inner peace and living a life of purpose. As we close, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question. What if what you thought was strength was actually making you weaker? What if by trying to be invulnerable, you're actually cutting yourself off from the very experiences that could help you grow and truly thrive? True Stoicism isn't about building walls, it's about building bridges. Bridges between our emotions and our reason, between ourselves and others, between who we are and who we aspire to be. It's time we reclaim this profound philosophy from the clutches of misunderstanding and allow it to enrich our lives as it was truly meant to do. So the next time you see a Stoic quote telling you to just be tough, remember, real strength isn't about feeling nothing. It's about feeling everything, understanding it, and using that understanding to live a life of virtue, purpose, and genuine human flourishing. That's the true power of Stoicism, and it's a power available to all of us. If we're willing to look beyond the myths and embrace the deeper wisdom, imagine a world where emotions are seen as weakness, where vulnerability is shunned, and where the ultimate goal is to become an unfeeling robot. This isn't some dystopian future, it's the distorted version of Stoicism that's taken over social media, self-help books, and motivational content. But here's the truth: this popular interpretation of Stoicism is not just wrong, it's quietly ruining lives. The myth of the stone-faced Stoic, unmoved by life's challenges, has spread like wildfire. We're told to suppress our feelings, to stay silent in the face of adversity, and to act as if nothing bothers us. It's a seductive idea in a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming. But this isn't Stoicism, it's emotional repression dressed up as ancient wisdom. Real Stoicism, the philosophy practiced by Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, is something far more profound and healing. It's not about becoming numb to life's experiences, it's about understanding them deeply. It's not about pretending to be invulnerable, it's about finding true resilience in the face of life's challenges. So how did we get it so wrong? And more importantly, What damage is this misunderstanding causing? The popular version of Stoicism tells us to man up, to push down our feelings, to soldier on without complaint. It's a philosophy that seems tailor-made for a world that values productivity over well-being, that prizes appearance over authenticity. But in reality, it's a recipe for emotional disaster. When we suppress our emotions, we don't make them disappear, we push them deeper. Where they fester and grow, we become disconnected from ourselves and others, unable to process our experiences in a healthy way. This false stoicism doesn't make us stronger, it makes us brittle, prone to breaking when life inevitably throws us a curveball. But what if I told you that the real stoicism, the philosophy as it was truly meant to be practiced, could be one of the most healing and empowering approaches to life ever created? Marcus Aurelius, often held up as the pinnacle of Stoic virtue, didn't write his meditations as a man devoid of feeling. He wrote as a leader under immense pressure, grappling with his emotions and seeking clarity. His writings are a testament to the power of reflection and self-examination, not emotional suppression. Seneca, another Stoic luminary, urged compassion and understanding, both for ourselves and others. He recognized that emotions were an integral part of the human experience, not something to be eliminated, but something to be understood and channeled wisely. In Epictetus, he taught that true peace comes from within, not by ignoring our feelings, but by learning to respond to them with wisdom and clarity. The real Stoicism teaches us to feel deeply, to examine our emotions without judgment, and to use that understanding to guide our actions. It's about taking responsibility for our inner world, not pretending it doesn't exist. So what would it look like to practice true Stoicism in our modern world? It starts with deep personal reflection. Instead of pushing away uncomfortable feelings, we learn to sit with them, to examine them with curiosity rather than fear. We ask ourselves, what's really bothering me? What can I learn from this emotion? We recognize that feeling emotions isn't weakness, misjudging them is. Anger, fear, sadness, these aren't enemies to be vanquished, but messengers carrying important information. The Stoic approach is to listen to these messengers, to understand their message, and then to decide how to act with wisdom. True Stoicism reconnects us with our deepest values and sense of purpose. It asks us to consider, what truly matters to me? How can I live in alignment with my principles, even in difficult circumstances? This isn't about being perfect, it's about striving to be our best selves, day by day, moment by moment. Practical tools like journaling, mindfulness, and community support become powerful allies in this journey. Writing our thoughts and feelings, as Marcus Aurelius did, helps us gain clarity and perspective. Mindfulness practices allow us to observe our inner world without getting swept away by it, and connecting with others who are on a similar path reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles. There's a new wave of thinkers and practitioners who are working to revive the true essence of Stoic philosophy. They're showing us how these ancient teachings can be applied to our modern lives in ways that foster genuine resilience, emotional intelligence, and a deep sense of purpose. So here's the question that could change everything. What would your life look like if you embraced emotion with wisdom? If instead of pretending to be invulnerable, you learned to be truly resilient? If you stopped trying to be a stone-faced Stoic and started becoming a fully alive, deeply feeling, wisely acting human being? Imagine waking up each morning, not dreading the day ahead, but feeling equipped to face whatever comes your way. Picture yourself navigating difficult conversations with clarity and compassion, rather than shutting down or lashing out. Envision a life where you're not constantly at war with your emotions, but in harmony with them, using their energy and insight to fuel positive change in your life and the world around you. This is the promise of real Stoicism. It's not about becoming emotionless, it's about becoming emotionally wise. It's not about detaching from life, it's about engaging with it more fully and authentically than ever before. The journey isn't always easy. It requires courage to face our feelings, to examine our beliefs, to challenge our habitual reactions. But the rewards are immeasurable. As we practice true Stoicism, we find ourselves becoming more resilient, more compassionate, more at peace with ourselves and the world around us. We learn to respond rather than react. We develop the ability to stay calm in the face of adversity, not because we're suppressing our emotions, but because we've learned to process them effectively. We become better friends, partners, leaders, because we're no longer afraid of our own humanity or that of others. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be okay. It needs people who are actually okay, who have done the inner work to find genuine strength and peace. It needs people who can feel deeply and act wisely, who can bring compassion and clarity to a world that often lacks both. So are you ready to stop pretending you're okay and start actually becoming okay? Are you ready to discover the true power of Stoicism, not as a way to shut down your emotions, but as a path to understanding and mastering them? The journey begins with a single step. It starts with the willingness to look inward, to question our assumptions, to embrace our full humanity. It continues with daily practice, small acts of reflection, mindfulness, and purposeful living that, over time, transform us from the inside out. In a world that often feels chaotic and overwhelming, the quiet voice of true Stoicism whispers a powerful message: feel, understand, and act with wisdom. It's an invitation to a richer, more authentic way of living, one that doesn't deny our emotions, but harnesses their power for good. The choice is yours. Will you continue to buy into the myth of the unfeeling Stoic, or will you embark on the transformative journey of real Stoic practice? The path of true resilience, emotional intelligence, and purposeful living awaits. Are you ready to take the first step?